we could, let's use, the echo is gone, but can you hear me? Uh,
Yes, we can hear you. I can hear you.
all right. So here's our agenda, and let me go back to it. That the first thing I want to do, and maybe you can use the chat box, is Tyrell still can't hear, but there is a call-in line, Tyrell. So I don't know what to say. Can you put it in the chat box on your phone, on your thing?
Sure can.
I can only do. So in the chat box, I would like you guys to talk about what you really liked about the conference real quick. Let's get some input on some of those ideas that you had from the 2018 Multiple Pathways of Recovery Conference. Let's just start there. Networking, devoting such dedicated time to recovery.
I want the conference call, Tyrell.
Okay, Tyrell, we got you. We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And see, all these comments that we're getting are just absolutely wonderful. Hearing from recovery thought leaders. I love the panel discussions. Real people offering accessible solutions at community levels. Hearing different perspectives on recovery. Meeting the founders of the new recovery movement. Having a non-clinical environment. I like that too. Bill and Don leadership. There's a song about Bill and Don, I think. Yes, non-clinical, very open recovery communication. Morning yoga. The coffee was pretty nice. Meeting so many recovery advocates. Sunny Florida. Non-clinical meaning focus on recovery, not on treatment or the disease. Very good. And I think we all agree with that. So when we were debriefing it here with the CCAR staff and in Connecticut, we talked a lot about the energy that was created at this conference. It was one that was extraordinary, at least in my opinion, and something that was worthy of replication. Early on, I thought, I wanted to get more people to hear what like Bill and Don have to say, and all you great presenters. I wanted more people there. And Kristen, you really helped me out with your Jerry Garcia comment. This idea that having access to people at this early stages, that I think we are ready to take it to the next level. But that really helped ground me and said that it was perfect for the people that were there. And so I was really, thank you for that, Kristen, loved it. And it really helped me see that we can replicate this, and with all of your help, that we'll be able to carry this to the next level, whatever that may be. And CCAR is willing to coordinate, do the logistics, do the planning with all of your input, but we're going to need real help from all of you and from people on this call and people on the committee to help drive this process. So the purpose of the advisory council, as I see it, which these are all your roles, is, let me go back, is to assist with the design of the conference. So I'm really curious as to what you think might be better, how we could structure it differently, what you would like to see. Looking for presenters and exhibitors, always looking for prospective sponsors of the event. And this is key, too, to drive the conference, the promotion, the marketing in your respective circles. CCAR will coordinate, assess all ideas, and we'll make final decisions. We'll do our best to come to consensus. I'd love to be able to honor everybody's request, but I hope you realize that logistically that might not even be possible. Any thoughts at all about the purpose, or your purpose and our purpose, as we convene these advisory council meetings? So again, include those in the chat. I guess I could try on conference call. I can probably hear you. Anything at all that you would like to share about what we're seeing as the purpose of the advisory council? Hey, you doing that? Purpose of advisory council? Really? Thanks, Sandy. So if we take out the option to speak, I think we reduce the echo, John, so you can hear me, right? So if you can just type some things in, or hop on the conference call and we can hear you that way. I was just trying to cut out the echo, so it was an either-or thing. Apologize for that. To bring new concepts into the conference, yes. So hopefully we'll get to that, to think about what some of the new concepts might be. To get a larger view of recovery across the country, yeah. Less separation of them and us at professional level, and also adequate family level, as we realize this is a life problem and a culture enmeshed in addictions of all kinds. Yes, thank you, Durga. Well said, Durga. So, Stacy, if you have anything to, feel free to jump in here if I need to be doing something different. Or Joe. Stacy says she's not jumping in at all.
I'm not jumping in at all.
So you may see at the bottom that somebody is helping keep notes on the side, the purpose of the advisory council, taking care of the carers too. What are the pathways, how are they implemented in communities, making the argument to local administrators as to why they are critical? Yeah, so that seems to me like an advocacy piece as well, Kristen, so thank you. Yeah, taking care of the carers. We want to rejuvenate and refresh the people that show up. Yeah. Get new input and new ideas. So let's move along and let's look. Who's that?
Jim Cook.
Hey, Joe. Jim, isn't it? Jim. Why'd you say Joe Cook? Don't you know your own name?
I'm sorry.
No, that's all right.
I'm old, it happens that way.
I hear you. So we have some people on the call, some people following along the PowerPoint slides on the webinar, some people contributing via the chat box. Oh, I'm on the wrong side. I really can't. So the 2000, we talked a little bit about the highlights. What are concepts to build on, areas of improvement? And Annie, to kind of go to your thought about some new concepts. So what are some, and I think we have some of the concepts to build on. Where are some places where you think we could improve? And again, you can talk to us on the conference line, or we can put them in the text box, whatever you'd like to do. So you'll see that, yeah.
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. This is Sam, and I'm just on the call, so I can't see somebody's already raising their hand to speak. But I'll share something whenever.
No, go ahead, Shannon. Good to hear you. Please,
okay.
Please.
Okay, good. I just wanted to say that I was thinking maybe the advisory council would serve best if, kind of like a board where we contributed our specific skill set in some way to help market it
Yes.
And then, as far as taking it to the next level, I think that what I was thinking about the other day is that it's kind of the same people that are coming, and what I've been noticing just in my own work and my own recovery journey is that there's just so many different parties of people that maybe don't even know what ARCO is or an RCO is, but they're still in the recovery community and they're still doing their own thing. And I'm thinking of a lot of big groups that are on Instagram that are sort of the younger generation and they have huge following and so maybe inviting them to come to the table for people that are not necessarily connected to RCOs and stuff like that, but still in the recovery group and doing sober social activities and things like that.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you, Shannon. So she's really talking about, to summarize, could anybody hear? John, you said you couldn't hear Shannon because her voice was muffled. Can I repeat all her comments? Well, she said a lot, and a lot of it was really good, but it's this idea of the advisory council, people using their skill sets to help promote and market. So Shannon's example was reaching people outside of the RCO's community, especially young people that are utilizing social media and all of that. Is that the thumbnail version, Shannon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think, and still, if that's something I can take on too, is with helping reach a new audience and reaching out to some of my contacts and then maybe figuring out, because even for the dance, I think it would be cool if we could have somebody sponsor the dance and some of these up and coming crowds and that they're the sponsor over that and helping bring their people and stuff like that. But I can kind of help you get some of those sponsorships people to the table.
Thank you. So Shannon's saying she's going to help with sponsorships and maybe getting some of the sponsors to dance and all that. Kristen has this idea, Kristen Harper. I like that collegiate recovery would be another group to invite. I agree. And Annie says every workshop needs a more intensive explanation of the pathway use and availability. Yeah, so we can deeper dive. So longer conference with longer workshops, more interactive. I think what you're talking to about Annie, what you're talking about, if I understand you, is this idea of how we might implement pathways in like our local areas where they're not available. How do we do that? I think that's part of that too. Andrew at Life Purpose. So Durga, what is Life Purpose in Andrew? Is that just another connection? And he says yes to what I just said. Collegiate recovery, yes. You'll see that Sandy V is putting in some notes. Sandy V is also a short for Sandy Valentine, and she and I are closely related. And she now has a position at a collegiate recovery place at the University of Connecticut, and she is tying into ARHE. And Kristen, I've also told her about you, so she may be reaching out to you too. But Sandy V has taken some notes for us, and everybody wish her a happy birthday. It's her birthday today, so happy birthday, Stan.
Happy birthday.
And she spent.
The reason I'm taking notes is so that you kind of lose the thought process with the great speed at which things are coming in the cabinet. So.
Thank you. Greatly appreciated.
I understand too.
Well, so yes, what's hard to understand, Jim?
Everyone talking, especially when they talk fast. The suggestions just now are kind of lost on me.
Okay, got it. We also, so this webinar this meeting is being recorded, so you can see all the notes and you can see the PowerPoints and you can see what everybody is chatting too. So there are ways to catch up, and hopefully I can send out a good summary as well.
Okay, I'm here via telephone because I couldn't open the conference, the webinar.
Okay.
The conference call.
Yeah, I hate it when that happens, but that happens not unusual, so we can walk you through it next time too. Um,
Okay.
the conference price has to be discussed. It is cost prohibitive to many people. I can only attend because work paid for it. Agreed, Heather. And that's on the agenda. And please, let's keep the focus on recovery. So when we say focus on recovery, there's a little bit different focus on recovery than they say in most treatment type of conferences, which really brings us to the purpose of the 2019 conference. These are some of the things that we've talked about for recovery coaches and others to learn about and experience various pathways of recovery. And you may or may not know this, but we've held 3 of them. So in October, that was our 3rd one. So this will be our 4th one. And from what I gleaned from talking with many people at the conference, for leaders in recovery to have meaningful conversations with one another, for leaders in recovery to retreat, refresh, rejuvenate, re-energize, and to give elders of the recovery tribe an opportunity to share their wisdom, experience, strength, and hope. Do you see anything else for the idea of the purpose for a 2019 conference?
Bill, this is Lisa Hope. I'm just throwing this out here. I know that on in the RC designation, there is a mention that you would go back to like a live interview, or maybe there's a possibility of that. And I think that could be a real secondary gain if there was a credential or a designation to be. If, I don't even know if it's realistic to staff it, but if someone could go and use that conference or a part of the closing day to interview and gain that designation, I think that would be a big gain to do.
So Lisa Hope just suggested that we have the Recovery Coach Professional designation, that we have that actual interview process for the Recovery Coach Professional designation at the conference. Thank you, Lisa. Very good. Yeah, John Kelly bringing relevant research. I think Bill White also suggested that to me, a Twitter chat with special guests. I'm trying to keep up. John Winslow bringing expert John Kelly. He was there 2 years ago, and Bill White suggested bringing him in again. And yes, I agree. That's wonderful. So these are all ideas. Are we okay with the overall purpose? And there's also a research collaborative now that has been created to focus on recovery research too. Kristen, do you know what that research collaborative is? So here's our conference format, and this is what we have been thinking about. So currently we're using plenary sessions, workshops, and we could always break up and do things differently. We had exhibitors. I really like the book signing. Nell Hurley, who can't be on this call, also mentioned that William Cope Moyers would love to bring his new book and sign that. We had Ryan Hampton with his latest, The American Fix. So there's some other authors, Kristen Johnson. I was reading Kristen Harper. Kristen Johnson has her book too. She might come.
Does she have a second book out now?
She does not have a second book, but it's still, the first one is Guts, but it would be kind of cool if she was there and signing that, right?
I wonder if we might use her for one of the plenary sessions.
Yeah, we could. See, so that's a suggestion, Kristen Johnston, for a plenary session. Open space technology, which is really people design the topics. That room to breathe concept, loose schedule, variety of recovery meetings. I think what we can also do is recovery activities. And I have another slide. And Michelle Perez from New Jersey talked about clans and tribes to work together. So We have a lot of research data coming up on the chat from Kristen. That she has Harvard, Penn State. I missed a couple others. There's a collaborative to build on Kelly and Bill White's work. Ruth Riddick. We did not record any of the conference, but we could. We used to use that informally through the cell phones and that, but we were a little late to the game to get an actual professional to record a lot of it. I agree with that. Some evening sessions, book signings, and talks with authors. Wonderful. Connect to the publishers. Las Vegas Recovery Press. Thank you, Durga. Let's have recovery high schools as well as collegiate. Yeah, bring in another group. Durga sent us a link to Central Recovery Press, RHS Rock Recovery High Schools. They won't have as many resources for travel, but they can certainly add a fantastic expertise. I wonder if that would be a chance for sponsorship, that we could get a big sponsor to bring the young people to the conference as well. I would love to see that. Hold news press conference during our, yeah, wonderful. Get the new. So we did have a couple people there from some media, but they were doing video. Kristen was doing a video. So I consider, but I love the idea of news press conference. This is why I brought you guys. You guys are wonderful. This is very cool. There's a lot of things going on here, so thank you. So take a look at this last, one of the last ones. It says tracks. So we have some tracks on multiple pathways. We also have other suggestions that I've heard of, ways to implement the multiple pathway approach. I've heard the recovery research track. There might even be specific track for recovery coaching, maybe in a specific area like emergency departments. Kristen talks about, an online conference within the conference for those who can't travel. So Sandy's on that page along with Kristen. A Skype meeting internationally too during the conference to see what Ghana, Britain. Yeah, we all have connections there. That's wonderful. On the phone, yeah.
Philip?
Yep.
It's Jim Cook.
Yep.
In addition to the Skype conference idea, you might consider an open time for people to send in a video of some activity they're doing, particularly the people from far away that wouldn't be able to get to the conference. Perhaps they could video something they're doing and send the video.
Yep, thank you. Thanks, Jim. That got posted. Video showcase from Recovery Resources worldwide. Love it. Yeah.
Maybe if I could see the screen, I wouldn't have said that. Thank you.
No, I typed it because you said it.
No.
Included.
So I was just affirming that you have been recorded. That was a good idea. So thank you.
Okay.
Love the Skype idea. Yes, Kristen Ray, international connections. I know John's going to want to talk about International Recovery Day, right, John? But he's got a great idea, too, so that's a whole other thing. So this is good, and we're moving right along, so we got a lot of ground to cover. Thank you. Here are some of the recovery activities. Some of these are newer that we... So a drum circle came up that maybe we do that. We have a few people that are, Durga is a renowned expert on yoga, the yoga of recovery, and what type of activities could we do. Hikes, runs. Nell took people on a hike, run. We had stretching, yoga, but there's other fitness activities. Tim Walsh would be more than willing to do something with adventure. He took some people surfing. Right, Shannon? That was fun. Art, Lisa's out there. She did the mask, right? Yeah, it was incredible. Shannon's well known for social media videos. And then we have this guy here, and Kelvin Young, who's done a lot with sound, the Kijang, right? And I can't even remember what they are.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So we have all these things that we could spend, giving room to breathe, but we could take on these recovery activities. There you go. See? Thank you, Durga. Kristen likes the drum circle. Trip to the beach. Right, Shannon? Heather's saying that. Heather Ogden.
Absolutely.
Beach meeting at night. Hey, we could all have the meeting at the Tiki Bar. No, that's the wrong place.
No, that's the wrong place.
Sorry. With a bonfire. Yep. There you go. So these are just some of the ideas, and but I think you get. So kind of just give me a yes or a no that if we include more recovery activities in the actual design, is that thumbs up, thumbs down, yes, no, yes? For it? Okay. Sing?
Not you, though.
Workshop on
Not you,
CCAR
though,
fundamental. No, I'm not
You're
going to sing. Stacy's. It's not that funny, Candy.
I'm muting.
Yeah, she's muting right now, she says. Great. It's not that funny.
A little bit it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it said make a joyful noise. It didn't say it had to be in tune. Art is great. What is your vision of recovery? All right, let's look at the next thing. Let's talk about branding, and this has to go with your vision of the conference. And so I'm interested in the conference title, and Bill White actually chimed in on this, that we are already discussing a national concept or international. And he said, why don't we rebrand it the MPRC, just leave those initials, Multiple Pathways of Recovery Conference, the National Recovery Conference. So we've talked a lot about, I did with many groups, Ruth and I have had the discussion too. Can you think of any other conferences that have a national focus that are focused on recovery? Ruth says MPRC should be spelled out. We already have too many initials. Thoughts about what to... So any idea? What are you thinking about?
John, why not international?
Yeah. John loves the international. I am not about to argue with Bill White's suggestion. Well, we can argue. He likes that too. He's okay. What is graphic recording? Annie, what's graphic recording? New York State Recovery Conference is New York State focused, right? Only in the educational space, collegiate recovery and recovery high schools. I say go for international, an international recovery conference. So these are the things that we want to figure out, and that would have a lot to do with the planning, right? The branding of this, what we call it, and I think if we a global recovery, taking notes with artwork more memorable than words. Wow. Graphic recording. Oh
it's
yeah,
like a
got it.
novel kind of thing.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, I know. We all
Thank you. The International Multiple Pathways of Recovery Conference. Rebecca says, I like global. Global health is a concept from CCAR-RCA. I like global too. Look it up on YouTube. Not global. Look it up on graphic recording. Yeah, I got it. Thank you, Annie.
Phil, this is Terry in Georgia on the phone.
Hey, Perry's on the phone. Hold on. Let me get my microphone close to the phone.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I've been working for a while.
All right.
What you're describing, a couple quick things. One is, there's a thing called Films Out of the Box, where it's like a 24-hour or 48 hours for aspiring filmmakers to create films. And they have them scattered around the country. And I've been wrestling with this idea that what you guys could do as a conference, and I'm willing to help, and I know there's others like Shannon, I'm sure will get on board. You could have like almost like a learning lab on the front end of this conference, or even pre-conference, where over the course of the conference, a small little couple-minute movie could be created that by the end of the day, the last day, you could see it. And it could happen. And it can also, again, as a skill building thing, it can show the best practices and elements on how you do craft story and get it out there. And doing it right there live as it was. And using the multiple platforms that are available. It's a lot.
Well, okay, so that's a blue powder idea where you just blew my mind a little bit. So I'm like, wow.
Okay.
No.
And let me take one other element that I think is done as an element of this, and that is, I have not really heard you guys talk much about Celebrate Recovery and that group. And they have an amazing international reach. They're heavy into Central America. I know that for a fact, but the trainings that they do down there. And they have a national gatherings and international gatherings. It just seems to me these guys should be at the table presenting their pathway of recovery and their reach to how they do what they do, so to speak.
Yeah, agreed. Celebrate Recovery was at our first one, and for whatever reason, we had trouble finding one for the last two. But, well, yes, that's a great point. Thank you. I agree.
Because I just interviewed somebody, because I do a PBS, well, not PBS, but public access show that John Winslow started, and then I took over called Recovery Today for our local Recovery Resource Center. And in that, too, is an element of a learning lab to teach others how to use and access public access resources to get their stories out there. And again, that I'm just hoping that becomes a track in and of itself and also encompasses the coverage of the event and even the pre-event.
Great.
So I'm willing to help, and I believe you should have some other folks that would want to step up into that.
All right, so you can count on me getting in touch with you probably early next month and talk about that idea a little bit in more detail, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Perry. It's awesome. John, I don't know if you are on the screen, Perry, but John Winslow wrote, Perry can come up with great ideas, LOL. Global information actioned locally. So a lot of people are really talking about the idea of making this a big international recovery conference that celebrates multiple pathways. So, yeah, I think I'll look for, I like that idea too. I'm not one to shy away from that, and with all your help, I think we could do it. I really do. So we talked about pricing, and so I'm just interested in all your thoughts. I mean, we had some thoughts already about making it accessible. However, you know, we have, I'll be very transparent with you. I don't know. We don't know this year yet, do we? Financially. So we're pretty sure that we've lost. Well, I know the first 2 years we've lost money the first 2 years, and we got a little closer this year, but we still have put in our investment as well. So yeah, I agree, Durga. So our first thing was spend less money on food, and we agree with that. We've already talked about that. So what's reasonable? How can we incentivize partners? That being all of you, and there's many, many more people that are on the distribution list. I have a list of about 50 plus or so people. Many people said they couldn't be on this call but would like to be involved. So is there a way that, like, the partners would give breaks to, or bring 10 people, you come free, or something like that? I don't know. Establish foundation to raise money for scholarships. Another avenue for sponsorship. If you get more people to come, can you lower the registration price? Yeah, definitely. That's always, yeah, we're not, so the way we work and have always worked, we're not doing this conference to raise money for CCAR. We're not doing that. We're just trying to get people together. We're trying to act as facilitators, organizers, bringing people together. Are we living in abundance or scarcity? Are we living in faith or are we living in fear, Ruth? That's a good question, Ruth. So, and I don't know that we'll come to an answer. Scarcity looks at cutting costs. And the thing I liked about the food costs, though, was that we don't need to. It's also okay to have room to breathe for people to go out on their own and figure out different ways and do all that. So we don't necessarily have to feed everyone all the meals, maybe one or two or something like that. But yeah, we thought about that. What it's really about is cost, time off. Many people can do so much online. Why show up in person? Yeah, that's true. So that's how we'd have to brand it too. And if somebody asked you, Durga, why should I show up in person at this conference? How would you respond? Or how would anyone respond? Why go to Punta Gorda? Why go there to see Bill White and Don Coyas? Why do that?
Are you asking for an answer?
Sure. So I'm juggling between what everybody's typing in the box and what you guys on the phone. So Jim, why would they go?
Because communication face to face is better than Skype. I mean, I know you're seeing faces there, but you lose a lot of things in the disorder of Skyping with a group. And I was just thrilled to be in the presence of some of the founders. And,
Yeah, thank you.
that was a strong incentive for me to get there.
Thank you. I was chuckling because Kristen Harper wrote Jerry Garcia and Bob Dylan. And there's a lot to be said for off-season Florida. There is. You'll have a unique breakthrough for your own life, not just information. Great. So, I mean, you guys are just giving us, like, these are all nuggets. So we're going to have to mine through all these nuggets and then figure out how we're going to put all this together. I was watching that last night. So the next steps for the council. So we are, and I don't know if maybe do I want to get into more of this. What do I want to get into more about? How are we doing?
I think we've got about 15 minutes.
I know, but is there anything that you think that you would like to discuss more? Not yet. So let's talk a little bit. So the thoughts about an additional conference. So there was a whole group from Massachusetts. Annie was in on that conversation. She's on the chat box too. So we have decided we have booked the space in the Port Charlotte Conference Center for November 12th through 15th. November 12th is a setup day, and we're thinking we do registration in the afternoons or evening, and then have the 13th, 14th, and 15th. And the reason we decided to do that overwhelmingly is so that Bill White can attend. And it's the only place where it's in his backyard. He's agreed to come, and just having Bill there is an absolute thrill for me personally, and I know that he thoroughly enjoys it. So that is booked. That is there. I'd love your input, and that's what we're going to work on. However, to me, it wasn't an either-or decision. Like we couldn't do one in and not do the other. So we can do others, and I know that Anair Hernandez and Annie Parkinson, who's on the call, and others from the Northeast talked about the Boston area. Michelle Perez talked about the New Jersey area. We've had people now way out west that have talked about Colorado and that's Don Coyas's backyard, and even out as far as Seattle and things like that. So, yeah, if we have a Northeast Conference, less than the attendance in Florida. Yeah, that's true.
And then the same
I'm
time.
not even going to say that. Multiple attendees are typing right now.
Yeah, well,
So now we need, instead of one event planner, we would need like 5.
no, let's just split it. Yeah, you do one. Julie will do one. We'll do 3.
A second conference should have a different focus. And he says, as long as there's Bill White, we will meet at his convenience. Just saying. I agree with you, Annie. He's pretty remarkable, and he and Don together are just magical. So, okay. And so we were thinking of, our rough thinking was November of 19 and doing a different one in May of 2020. But that was about as far as we got. We decided to book the one in November of 19 and see what you guys think. You can get to Punta Gorda from here. Jeepers, I walked that far. How? I mean, took a while, but I walked that far. Oh, I like that, Rebecca. I think the Northeast Conference should be focused on recovery coaching with different tracks. That's pretty good. Thank you, Rebecca. And what and where, so when. And maybe that's it. So that's good. What's the difference between a summit and a conference, Kristen? Yeah, we don't want to clash with your New York State Recovery Conference. We have that booked already. Smaller, less expensive. Huh? You know the difference between a summit and a conference? No?
It's terminology. It's whatever you want to call it. But the thing is, if you do something smaller and less expensive, where's the draw to get people to then go to Punta Gorda?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same reason why we don't want collaboratives to charge different amounts for RCA.
Phil Perry here.
Yeah.
If you are going to stick with those dates, or that's pretty concrete for November, you might want to consider in your branding the 2 ideas about in 12-step recoveries. You know, that's gratitude month, as it's called, and you might want to consider a subtitle or a part of maybe promotional aspects with that gratitude theme. Consider that, or the idea of paying it forward, passing it on, in some way in terms of advertising, marketing, and a suggestion, a thought, a consideration.
Thanks. Good suggestion.
Phil,
Yeah.
Sandy.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of big Christian conferences do the live conference and then have streaming to regional summits. So, you know, they would gather people so you still get the risk of human interaction, but to web stream, video stream the speakers to those locations, and you have people designated in those areas.
Yeah, sort of like hub.
Yeah.
Yeah, like recovery cafe.
So that would tie into that whole thing about the online piece, and then it would be like having different. You'd have the same conference at different locations at the same time.
Yeah, there's many ways to structure it,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, not everybody's going to get everything. If you want the best experience to be
Thank you. That makes sense. Durga is typing. So I'd like to do this. I think we have a few minutes left. I'd like to explore this idea of what it might look like to stream to other locations and maybe put some feelers out. Is anybody out there willing to be a hub somewhere else? I don't see anybody typing right away with that question. Okay, so we'll just see what happens with that. Mm-hmm.
Myrtle Beach is a natural place to have meetings, but it's not that far away from where you are, and May is not considered off season.
Okay.
Personally, I'd rather go somewhere else.
Yeah.
There's a place with 1,600 restaurants and 800 motels and all that kind of thing that make it easy to have an event.
Well, and I think
I don't know whether it's something you'd want to consider.
Right.
It's awfully a lot like the fall country.
Yeah, Myrtle Beach. Thank you for that, because I also think that so we are able to get pretty low airfares to Punta Gorda to Fort Myers. It wasn't extraordinarily expensive like a lot of other places. So at least from the Northeast to Florida, there's a lot of options, especially early. If you book it way in advance, it's a lot cheaper. Yeah, that's what we're talking about, John, is Livestream is a good streaming site. Stream the conference so it can be experienced globally. That would really improve our reach as well. So let's take a look, and I have no idea where the little arrow is on my thing. I got it. So the next steps for the council is whatever this is. We're going to save the date. We're going to have a design and distribution. I'm going to set up the next call. What else do you think you guys could contribute in the meantime? I'm thinking sometime, probably in December, I'll set up the next call. And hopefully I'll get a little better at it, and that we can figure out how to use all our technology a little bit better.
Phil?
Yes.
Perry, one last thing. From an organizational standpoint, have you considered interns or fellowships of different groups who could potentially bring a staff person with a particular skill base, whether that be technology and web streaming or marketing or journalism or a whole variety of other kinds of modalities? And maybe the people on this group, this committee, know of those kind of potential fellowships that will be coming out over the next year, either academically through a school or through some nonprofit foundation that does that kind of stuff. Because I'm aware of a couple groups. I'm sure other people are. If that's something you would want to bring some level of skill to a specialty that's of a need for this group.
Yeah, we're always open to that, and we've used a lot of interns and special project people over the years, so that's a great idea. Love it. Yeah, so that's a good idea. Let's think about our best suggestions for workshops or mini workshops. Again, and when you're thinking of that, a lot of times we do a call for proposals, and maybe at the next meeting we'll start to review that. People drift away from describing a pathway, and oftentimes it drifts to this idea of a target population, and a target population is not a pathway. So, for example, Smart Recovery can serve a variety of populations and age groups and all of that. So, a call for proposal about working with youth, that is not a pathway, it is a population. And I just want to make sure that here we're clear on that concept. Also, a lot of people wanted to present on how they're using multiple pathways already in their work, whether it's their recovery community center, their treatment program, their recovery community organization. So I just want to be kind of clear on that multiple pathways piece. If that's still that's a very strong need, I think, and we just want to make sure that we have that covered. And that's really how we've kind of filtered our presentations. Right, and any individual can use a variety of pathways, and so that's that idea of it's not either or, it's both and, like we talked about, that people could go to a 12-step meeting, practice yoga, be involved in adventure, and even go to Smart Recovery to work on their thinking. Yeah, and I think that's also what we believe in as a concept. But they can't really choose a pathway if they don't understand what it's about or a support. Any other closing thoughts? We have a minute left. Anybody that anything that you want to put in the text box or add on the call, because we are approaching the end of our time. So thank you. I know this was a little scattered, but Sandy did a wonderful job. There's an incredible list of information and all of that we can ponder, and we'll go through, and I'll send out a summary and we'll update the planning document, and I look forward to your continued participation. Please, we need you. And I guess, again, thank you, and we will close the meeting.